Good evening, guys. Can you hear me okay? Good evening to POTMAN, Cobra. Just give me a sound check. Okay, POTMAN, do you want to get your tip? I've got a tip ready for you right now. You ready for this? Now listen to it good.
Now remember, when things look bad, and it looks like you're not gonna make it, then you gotta get mean. I mean plumb mad dog mean.
Good evening, everybody. Right, we're here for a couple of matches tonight. We've got a winner's side match in the 2022 Straight Pool World Championship. And that's going to be between POTMAN and REELPOLANDPOWER Stub, which should be starting any second now, as is Friday Night 9-Ball, which has got a full house. In an hour's time, we have a one-loss side match between Mr. Fox and Silvia. That's a race to 150, starting at 8 o'clock GMT, and this one about to start in a minute. So the message to POTMAN is just know when to make a move and when not to make a move and keep it tight. Don't be falling into Stubb's hands and making it easy for him. That's my advice. The room is up. Stubb, I think, is waiting to go in, and we're going to head in. Good evening to Simon. Right, must be lagging it. Oh no. Right, hang on a minute to change the cloth. If we can get that done. So, race to 200. We'll have the lag for the break, and then of course when you win the lag, you put your opponent into break. That's always the plan in straight pool. And the good news is, Bedhead got his VP4 fixed. The main problem was that whenever he was coming into VP4, into the online, it never downloaded any assets for the game, so it never downloaded the rooms, it never downloaded the tables, and it would never play because of that. That's why it was crashing. And I mentioned earlier in the lobby, I'm convinced I mentioned in the stream the other day, and I was hoping that Bedhead was there to hear it. I'm sure I said to get his router powered down and whatever, but anyway, he actually reinstalled his router, and that fixed it. Now, whose cue's that over there? Well, POTMAN's at the bottom of the screen. Stubb's messing about here. I don't know what the hell he's doing. But Bedhead's good to go now. But of course, he's now in the one-loss side. He was due to play POTMAN, but POTMAN got a bye, and that's why POTMAN is now playing Stubb. So Stubb won the break, won the lag, and put POTMAN into break. Good evening to Michael and anybody else I might have missed. So POTMAN on -2 because he didn't get the allotted amount of balls to a rail, which is fine. And Stubb going for a big breakout, and he's dead in the water immediately. Cue ball spinning 100 miles an hour. And the only way POTMAN's going to get anything out of this is taking what he can get and running. Simple as that. That's how he can keep himself in the game. If he keeps going for stuff he shouldn't be going for, Stubbs just going to keep gathering the points and keep going further and further away. Now, just while they're playing a bit of safety here, let's have a quick look. The main match of the weekend is on Sunday night, and Sunday night, 7 p.m. GMT, that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, and that's going to be between Moz from England, who now lives in the States, and Albinario from Sweden. I'll be there for that one. Steve said that he would join, so he should be there. And we'll find out if there is any improvement on Discord. I've messed about with Discord. It might be good, bad, or ugly, but we won't find out until Sunday night. I don't know what what POTMAN did for a safety there, but Stubbs off and running again. So, quick look around at the pack. There's nothing really doing there at the moment. And he's a bit straight in this. He's got an angle, but he needs to be careful he doesn't get a lot of top in this if he's going to try and run through. He looks as if he's... Yeah, because he could skid off and scratch. Good evening to Bedhead. Yeah, that's right, Bedhead. He could have made him break again. I forgot that's one of the options that comes up. And Stubb, is he going to be aggressive again, or is he just going to come back off this? No, it's going to have to be either combo. I think he's got a choice of two combos here. I don't know whether he can see enough of the 7 though. That's a bit tight. And if you look at the 13 and the 10, I think that 10 is going to catch the 12. Whether it's going to catch it in a good enough line, there's a little gap. Now he's got that combo. And he's got now a possible break ball. Not great, but it's better than none at all. Now he could run into this 8 ball here if he's trying to get up for the 7 or the 12 on the left hand side. Yeah, he's managed to get in the gap, but he's actually just hit it a wee bit too hard. I think he tried to get on one of those 2 balls there. One of those 2. And straight away the possible break ball is going to go. That was a better candidate, I think, than the 11. The 11's behind the pack. It's not really great. So again, Stubbs' choice of shot has backed himself into a corner here straight away. And this obviously won't do any damage to the cluster of 3 that's there because he's heading away from those. I don't know whether he can get enough of this 15 at the back of the 3 to pot it. I don't think so. It looks, again, very tight. Yeah. Trying to get into them, and now he's on nothing. And he'll just probably sacrifice a point here would be the best thing to do rather than move these very far. I don't think you can see enough of the 10 just to sort of bank it to the side rail. I don't think the angle's good for that. No, it's not. He can't really get to it. And he'd more than likely be leaving POTMAN on. And he could bump the third. Yeah, he's sacrificed a point. Well, POTMAN should do the same because Stubbs on 1 foul and he shouldn't be doing anything to open these. You know, if he's going to get to a rail, he's got to get this left safe, and that's not great because Stubb can see the 11 and you know what he's going to do. That was just a bad choice of shot from POTMAN. He's got to just put Stubb on that 1 foul and let him make the move. And well, the only thing is, they're still not a great break ball. The 13 may well have to do. Yes, I've been driving down from Venezuela. I've still got, what, like 6,000 miles to go to get to Tierra del Fuego. Well, he's going to try and run into the pack from the side rail. Needs a lot of power, needs a good hit if he gets anything. And he's stone dead. But already POTMAN's made one choice there which he shouldn't have done. He should have just put Stubb on that 1 foul and let him take the initiative. These are just extra points that are going to Stubb very early on in the game. Now, once again, before you take your shot, you should be having a good look at the pack to see if there's anything that could cause a problem. There doesn't look to be anything there at the moment, but POTMAN's got to feather this 6 ball really thin and get as good a length on this as he can. Nice and thin. So he's brought the 8 ball out. See, you've got to get it really thin. And I mean just a whisker to move that and no more. And Stubb will take the bait. He'll never refuse these. Again, you've got to get these thin. This is why you must really get it feather light thin. You can always nudge something out if you're not careful. And of course, Stubb gets it. Busts the pack open. And there's still a little problem there, but he's got good opportunities sitting around to actually deal with it. Well, it's years since I've played GTA. I went to GTA 5 online and I lasted 5 minutes with that. You've absolutely no chance online with that game. People have been playing it for years. They've got all sorts of bloody mods installed. Well, POTMAN has ended up on -2 from his break shot, and he's had nothing since. And the couple of shots that he's played have been poor choices, or poorly executed, I should say, because in each shot he's given Stubb a chance, and you just can't do it. Not this early on and give him a comfortable start. And again, the stuff that Stubbs doing is not good either, because he's running the cue ball and he's just basically hoping he gets lucky to get another ball in play. So the 4 ball is the issue, because I'm pretty certain if that 4 ball was out of the way and the 3 was out of the way, the 9 and the 2 would both go. Yep, and that's what's creating the issue here. And that's that 5 ball is fine because it's nicely off the rail, but the 6 ball looks as if it's nailed. Well, Stubbs going to get rid of the 4. And I don't know whether he's got enough angle to stun off this 4. It might be a wee bit straight, but he should be trying to get back out onto that 3. Get rid of it. And that 9 ball is in the pack, I think. Well, he's went for the nudge. He's actually now created a break ball. That was a good shot. That is ideal, the 9 ball. But as I say, the one that's going to be the problem is this 6 ball. 5 ball, nothing to worry about there. But that, I don't know whether Stubbs had a look, but that's as frozen as you can get to the rail. And that could ruin this visit. Well, he's already ruined it. He's missed a 3 into the side. And so POTMAN needs to steer well clear of that 9 ball. And he's going to be the one that will have to deal with the 6. Now, having said that, he's got a good chance if he leaves the 3 to play it and then finish on the 6. Well, I don't think Stubb had that plan in mind here, Pig. I think Stubb just played a bad shot in the 3, but POTMAN's gone a bit too far to the left with this 3 ball. He wanted to really be nailed straight on this 6. He's got to just push this in gentle. And most certainly does not want to touch the 9 ball. But this is the one that's going to make or break his visit here at the end of this rack. He could take the 2 and try and nudge the 6 if he's brave enough. That would be a good shot to nudge the 6, but then you don't know whether you're going to have a shot in the 6 after that. That's the problem. Well, that's a good shot. That's an excellent shot. It's excellent because he's got enough angle, I think. He's got enough angle, I think, if he gets into this with a bit of pace to come around behind the 9 or go forward and up the middle, but he has to leave an angle. He can't be. That is pretty good. Now it needs to slow up. He's just running a wee bit too far. So the pressure's on here to get a good pot and not let the cue ball get away. Good evening to Spectre. Oh, that cue ball. Well, last year that was in the pocket every day of the week. But the Jaws this time kept it in play. I think it was a bit late there with that one. At least the replay works. So, POTMAN looks as if he's scored a lot more, but he's only scored 7 points. But there are other points there available for him, and there's a good ball there to break open that cluster of balls. That 7 ball is ideal. So he wants to be thinking about how he can get there, and he's got 3 or 4 choices as to how he can get out onto that 7. But right now, he's got himself a little bit out of line here. And he has to make sure this cue ball goes up the table. And that will do. Now he's got a chance. Now if he plays this right, I mean, he could break into them off the 5 if he was in a good line off the 5, but he's got to see if he can finish on a line on this 7 ball. There's nothing goes there. I think that the 11 and the 3, that 3 looks desperately close to the 6. I wouldn't fancy it. And he's gone too far. He's got another chance, but he should be playing to this 7 ball. That's perfect, almost. I think it is. He's pretty much nailed that on the 7. And the shot now, the 9 ball would have to do as a break ball, but that 7 ball is the one he wants to be taking with the opportunity to nudge these. Well, he's taking the 1. I don't know why. He might not get a better chance to get on that 7. Unless he's trying to break him from the side. And he might be a bit straight. Let's have a look. No, he's okay. Now the 10 ball is very tight. But it does go. But still, I think I'd prefer the 7. Yeah. Yeah. I think you got to take your medicine when you see the shot. The 7 ball was a lot easier, I think. And so the visit ends on 12. And he hasn't got rid of that deficit, which is the first target you have to get to. And Stubb now has the 7 ball as a break ball if he can deal with these 2 below it, which are a bit sort of awkward where they're sitting. Yeah, the 10 ball past him, but when you're cutting it, you can't see the proper line. You're playing a blind pocket shot, and that makes the shot 10 times more difficult. Well, he's cleared the problem. He might have got himself in trouble. No, he's okay. He's just okay. So 7 ball would be the break shot. The 10 ball would have been a good ball to get on the 7. The 7, see the 7 ball into the side was a far easier shot because the line of the cue ball was going directly into that bunch of balls, and at least he could see the pocket he was shooting into. But you live or die by your shot choices in this game, and that 7 ball in the end was a perfect break ball for Stubb, who now is building up the lead. Oh, good evening. My one and only view. In fact, I think you were on the stream first thing earlier on this afternoon, and I was talking away and I had the mic muted for about 20 minutes and didn't realise that. So apologies if you thought I was ignoring you. Yeah, I agree with you, Bedhead. It had to be the 7 ball. A far easier shot and a more natural shot rather than trying to cut that blindly. But I say these are the choices that baffle me as to why players do things like that. There's already 2 or 3 shots POTMAN's. I mean, he's played a couple of good shots, but he's making too many wrong choices already that are costing him. And this is why you've just got to measure the shot before you commit yourself. Think about it. Think about the value of it and the difficulty of it and what there is to be gained from it. But you have to also bear in mind what there is to lose from it. And these points are frittering away early on. And Stubbs just been given the opportunity to build the lead. I mean, there's other ways to keep yourself in the game other than trying to outpot your opponent. And, Potman's already conceded that Stubbs going to pot more balls. Well, he won't pot more balls if he can't see them. So you've got to use every strategy in the book to deal with somebody like that. And the paramount thing is that when you have the chance to make some points, you make them, and then you don't take the big risk. There are times for taking big risks. The big risk you can take if you're still in the game and it's down to the business end of the match. That's where you have to maybe make that big decision. But you keep making these errors and wrong choices, all you're doing is just feeding Stubb, and he'll feast off them. But it's going to be a combo to keep going. I don't know whether he can get to that 8-ball clean. I think he might be able to just squeeze the 8-ball in. Well, he can certainly move it now. You can deal with that. And right now we don't, again, have something that's an ideal break ball. That was something we spoke about in another stream about how many players aren't using a ball into the side as a break shot, because those are alternatives, and that would have been a perfect example of the break ball into the side there for Potman earlier on in this rack. Yeah, there was barely a millimetre past for that 10-ball to pot, and if you just don't get it absolutely nailed on, bear in mind the angle he was cutting at, you're just going to push it into the obstructing ball. And what's more, then that's going to move balls and bring things into play. And already Stubb is 30 points up, and already Potman's got a crisis in his hands, because he's going to have to score something as and when he gets back to the table. And if he doesn't score a lot, he has to make sure that when Stubb comes in, he's getting nothing. How often am I going to say this? And sooner or later, some players are going to start listening. Some players, I think, have got it in their head that they don't want to look like a pussy because they're playing a safety. Some players are like that. They just think that they want to try and pop balls and be spectacular. Well, try being spectacular when you end up in the one-loss side, and then you end up losing and you're out of the tournament. You've got to find ways to win. Well, that was a well-controlled shot. Didn't slam it. Nudged them to break them open. The run is 22. And sometimes as well, I think a lot of players go into a match, not just against Stubb, but against a lot of other players. They go in and they've immediately conceded defeat. They haven't actually thought of a way to win and use all the strategy that they can in order to disrupt their opponent. Everything within the rules of the game. Stubb disruptive way is his way, but the fair way to do it is by the rules of the game and by using your head. And it just disappoints me the amount of players that just don't utilise the proper approach to the game, which is sensible, taking your chances, keeping it tight, keeping it safe, leaving them nothing. If you do that, you might force him into taking too many risks, and you can score some more points and then run and hide again. But Stubbs under no pressure, none whatsoever. He's not going to feel the pinch if Potman doesn't put the pinch on him. And Potman might come to the table next time around with still plenty of time to go, thinking he's going to have to push the boat out and take more risk. He doesn't have to. He just has to find his way back into the game. Small steps are required here. Well, there's the break ball gone again. Eight ball is in the pack, I think, as well, so that won't count. So the problem now is he's the wrong angle in the one. He hasn't gone far enough. He's left it short. And I don't think he can get any of those two balls. He can't get on any of them. He can only get on them up table, and he's got no angle to get on them that way. He's putting inside on it to try and drop behind. And that will take care of that. And now, of course, this would be ideal to get on the 15, but he's still got to deal with the 12. Well, that was pocket pace that put that in there. Gave it every chance. The run goes to 33. And this is punishment that Potman doesn't need. Has he gone far enough? This is too straight. Yeah, it's way too... Excuse me, I've had a drink now, I've got the hiccups again. It's way too straight. You'll be lucky he gets anything, and that's, of course, the other problem with the stun is you can end up just locked onto the balls. So, Stubbs' run is certainly over, because there's nothing on. And, you know, what Stubbs doing is what Potman should be doing. You know, score the points, and then if you don't get lucky, make sure your opponent's got nothing. This is what Potman should have been doing. It's just plain and simple. He's got to do his best to match him on the safety side of it. Let's see if I can raise my second monitor a wee bit so I can read the text a bit better. Hang on. I don't know whether that'll be any good. I don't like that at all. No. Get rid of that. So I think Potman sacrificed a point there. He's now in, well, I presume that's one foul. What's he doing here? What's he asking in the chat? He's saying, was that not 3 fouls? What is he thinking? He's in 3 fouls right now. Is he in 2 fouls? Oh, Stubbs in 2 fouls now. Well, if that's the case, Potman should just be tapping the balls. Well, there's no much more thought involved in this. He should just be rolling to the ball, into the one behind, to the right of the cue ball right now. He should be rolling to that and putting himself in 2 fouls and forcing Stubb to get to a rail. And if Stubb isn't switched on, he could then lose the 18 points. So Potman's in 2 at the moment, or Potman's in no fouls. Right, because I was busy messing about with that second monitor there while this was going on. Well, that's a good shot. The thing is, though, can Stubb kick the 2 and keep the cue ball there, or can he kick the 4? So Stubbs in 2, He's got to get a ball to a rail. He looks as if he's punching the 2 into the 13. And he'll be happy with that, I think, because I think he's left Potman nothing. Potman can't get to the 13. Well, he can see the 13, but he's not potting it. Oh, he's in a bit of trouble here. But he's managed to stop the cue ball, but he's not stopped the sight in the 6. And Stubb will take that on. You can't see the 13, but well, maybe he's thinking twice about it. But again, if he doesn't take the 6 on, it's still the right thing to do, because it's not giving Potman an easy chance to get in if he makes an ass of this. But I think he can't resist it. And then it goes. And Potman's lost another safety battle. And he's now going to lose more points. Well, he's going to be giving away more points. And Stubbs' lead is getting critical already here for Potman. Potman's just not at the races here. And he's been kept out of it. And the chances, the safety errors he's made, 2 main ones he's made, and that's allowed Stubb just to walk away with this early on. Good evening to Moz. Have you not seen Stubbs' video, Moz? You not seen him playing pool in real life? That's bound to be on Stubbs' channel on YouTube. I don't know what his channel is, but I seen a bit of the video of him playing pool. And then you'll find out why he's called Stubb. I mean, he's not called Stubb in here because that's why we call him Stubb. He's called Stubb because that's what his name was in VP3. And I asked him in VP3 why he called Stubb, and he told me about 15 years ago. Yeah, he's never been Stubb in VP4. I think he's always been Real Poland Power in VP4. But I call him Stubb. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to start my little bloody clock again. I'll do that right now. So whatever the match time is, we just add 40 minutes onto it. So a reminder for any latecomers, this is the winner's side match. It's a round 3 match, race to 200. And we've got another match to start in about 20 minutes time. And that's between Mr. Fox and Silvia. on the one-loss side. A race to 150. Well, this is going to certainly catch the pack. Now he's drawn into them. Got to watch the draw. Yeah, he's bounced off the pack and scratched. And he played that wrong. I mean, I don't know what was wrong with just playing the stun to catch the corner of the pack. But anyway, Stubbs run ends in 12. He's 60 points in front, and POTMAN has got a handful of balls here that are his. Now he wants to take a little bit of time here to know where he's going. That 15 ball, I think, squeezes past the 6 if it came to it. Yeah, he can certainly cheat the pocket with it. And he's running into balls where he didn't really need to be running into balls, but I'm going to stand up for a little while so I can read the chat. Well, POTMAN's got himself a wee bit awkward here. He's having to take the 13. It could have done as a break ball from the side rail. And that's a mistake she cannot do. And that is just no good, I'm afraid. At least half a dozen balls there for POTMAN. And again, I think he went wrong straight away when he started. He started trying to run into balls to improve something that didn't need really improving as long as you take the right ball first. And in the end, it all culminated him in getting himself awkward, having to dig out a shot, and he couldn't make the 13. And this is going to end up very ugly for POTMAN, because contributions of 2 get you nowhere. Not in any game. But POTMAN, having gone through, and let's be honest, had it turned out the way it most likely would have turned out between Bedhead and POTMAN, it would have been Bedhead playing POTMAN tonight. But should Stubb come through this, as he already looks likely to be doing, then he's going to be playing Hairpig next, who I'm sure is not going to be falling into the same traps and same mistakes that POTMAN's been making, and missing pots like that in the 13 are just knocking nails into your own coffin. Well, it's not going to be a big run here for POTMAN. He's back at the table because he's got very little opportunity to get into those balls. And he can't do it off the 11. And he shouldn't be trying to do something silly off the 11. Oh, that is so bad. That is really, really poor. I don't know what Potman's on tonight, but he must be on something, because you can't miss a ball as badly as that. Let me just double check that I'm in sync here. Yeah, the scores don't lie. Well, good firm stun in the 10. Although he doesn't need to when you look at it. In fact, he could be trying to come round behind him here rather than nudging into him, because he doesn't really need to nudge anything at all. He just needs to get on one of them. Well, the 12 ball up past the middle pocket is doing nothing where it's sitting. 4 ball, he's too straight on to do really much with it as well. I mean, if he drops behind the 2 and the 3 and he has an angle, excuse me, he could pop one of them and nudge the other one into play, but I think he's way too straight in this 4. He can try and pinch a bit, but he might well just take the 4 and pot the 12. And he's trying to get in behind it. Now this, if he plays this gentle enough, he can brush off the 3, bring it into play and cut the 12. He doesn't want to be hitting this too hard unless he's trying to hit it to the rail and bring it back out. Yeah, he's got it far too heavy. But it's going to have to do, and he's going to have to get out into the table. He's having a look at the 3 so that he knows how far he wants to get away to leave this cut angle. Unless he's... I don't believe he's trying to stick it to the rail. No. Oh, he's missed the 12. He's been too busy thinking about the 3. He's forgot about the 12. And he's got away with it. He was more concerned about getting that angle in the table so he could play the cut and bring that cue ball from the long rail into the side of the pack, but he's actually got lucky. I think Stubb will be trying the same thing again. He could be trying to get in. Nice. Yeah, he's got an angle. He wants to be hitting the corner of the pack if he can. And he's completely missed him. So now he's running for cover. And it's good length on the safety. And that's the best shot yet I've seen in this whole tournament to get to that top rail or bottom rail, whatever way you want to call it. That's where you want to be. But before you make your move, you've got to come up table and look at the pack and see if there's anything that's coming into play. Now, if he plays the 7 thin enough, he's going to push the 1 that way, and he's just going to push the 7 towards the 6. But if he gets it thin enough, he shouldn't do any damage. It's got to be, again, cigarette paper thin. If he's going for the 5, that's going to bring the 2. Yeah, that's how you have to hit them. And that's a better one. That 6 ball I don't think can get to the 8 because there's too much guarding it. And this is a difficult one for Potman because he can't play to the bottom rail here behind the pack because of these 2 balls. And his connection on the first ball, if he's going to play the 15 and he gets it too thin and too much weight on it, he'll push it past the 5. The 8-2 is blocked by the 13 ball, or the 11 ball it was. That'll be a missed call. Oh dear. And again, Stubb has got an opportunity to get into them, but he's not really done a lot of damage. But he's got shot choices here to just keep tallying up the score. As you're looking at that combo, he can't get to it, I don't think. Or can he? You're going to cut the 5 onto the... Oh no, you can get to it. Just cut that 7 onto the 9. He's going to have to bail out up table this time, I think. I think the 2 does go. It's just a wee bit tight, but it would go. And again, Stubb missed that by quite a margin. So, the only good thing about that for Potman is it was only a run of 3. What's Potman apologising for? Has he got a slight angle? Not enough really, I don't think. He could maybe catch the 14, but that would be about it. He's not got much to work with at all. Yeah, again, just take what's there. Oh, Stubbs using a different monitor. I think he's maybe using Potman specs. Well, if he takes the 5, that's the aggressive shot to get into that bunch of balls to get them opened up. It really should be the shot he's taken because it's the one good angle he's got here. And that was the right one. And now, again, the 1 ball is... Let's have a quick closer look at that. That 1 ball's just off the point. So the shot to take straight away would be the 11 to get rid of the 1 and to take care of that 12 ball. None of those 2 balls are in play, but he could get rid of the 12. So if you take the 11 and the 1, that gets rid of the 1, you might not get as good on the 1 again. So that's what he should be doing. Now, if he gets a wee bit higher angle on this 12, like maybe finish there, he could maybe just pot the 12 and brush through. He'd be unlucky not to be in anything. He still has a 4 ball up the table. He could just brush that 14 into play, possibly. These are the things you have to be trying to work out. Now, a little brush and no more, just enough to pot this. And he should still have a shot, and he may well just nudge that 14. Well, maybe not. It might just go down the line. It might just go down the triangle. Yeah. And he's missed a 12 in the meantime. Well, I think he had the right idea, but he was catching it too thick. He just wanted to glance that 14. So it could be the 6 ball as a break shot. The 4 ball's a good ball to get yourself out into the table. Well, that's true here, Pig. I mean, there's nothing coming back from POTMAN, so Stubbs under no pressure. He just needs to keep scoring more points than POTMAN. He's going to get to the finishing line long before POTMAN will, certainly at this rate. So 4 ball up the table. Well, he's gone dead straight. Well, he's got a slight angle on the 4, but it's not great. And the other thing is, he wants to make sure he's not too far up the table. He's trying to pinch a little bit of angle here, but if he goes forward, he may well just end up dead in the back of the pack. Well, he's caught the corner, which was the best shot to play there, because anything in the back of the pack, he would have been just dead. And if he also gets good in the 7 or the 8, he's got good balls there to do more damage. He's got a choice. So this to open them up. Cue ball stays in play. And the replay is working perfect. Well, we are 4 minutes away from the one lost side match between Mr. Fox and Silvia. That's due to start. I'll leave it up to you guys as to what you want to do, whether you want to stay with us or you want to watch a bit of the match starting in about 3 minutes' time. Now, he's got to get on this 5 ball, or he's got to check this cue ball onto the rail if he's going to hold for the 15 when he pots this 10 ball, but he's not putting anything in the cue ball. He's just trying to come back across for the 5. Again, that's no good. Entirely the wrong angle on the 5 ball. He's going to draw into the rail big time and try and spin across behind him, or maybe hit something if he gets lucky. Big draw. Big slam. And, well, he actually tried to play it more controlled, but he's missed the 5 again. Well, there's a couple of balls here for POTMAN to pick off. the 15 ball is in the pack, so it's no good. The 1 ball's no good either. He's not really got anything that's great because he's about to pot the only ball that could possibly be a break ball. It's going to go. I wouldn't be in the stream, POTMAN, but if you're in the stream, you should bloody listen to what I'm saying. That's what you should be doing. Right, his Stubb says he's going to switch to the other monitor after this. Can't see edges of balls with this bullshit monitor. Well, why did he have that monitor in the first place? That's what I would ask. Well, I would just bank that 15 up the table and hide behind the pack, because you're not going to be hitting the pack off this 15. Yeah, he's tried to do it with spin, and of course it's just a sucker shot. And POTMAN's strategy of the best form of defence is attack is certainly not working. How much more proof does he need? Well, there's a bucket load of points here for Stubb to take him halfway home. The other match will have started, presuming if Silvia's turned up. I don't know whether she's in the game or not. Well, it's not that your eyes have gone in that shot there, POTMAN. You shouldn't have been taking that shot. Simple as. It was never really on. And again, at the pace that he played it at, the pace was to get the shot and also try and deflect the cue ball to catch that pack. But at that pace on these pockets, they simply won't go if you don't get it flush. But again, it just shows you my way of thinking. I would have just ran for cover there. If I'm that far behind, there's no way I'm taking those shots on. I'm just trying to get some sort of recovery going, but I'm not going to do it by taking big risks. That's the one thing I would not be doing. Okay, you might still end up losing, but you're not going to be ended up losing by such an ugly score. You'd have been able to put a wee bit more contribution than this in the game. Well, the 3 ball's a bit wide of the pack, but it's not bad as a break shot if you're inside the 3. If you're there, it's not a bad break ball. It's actually just up from the corner of the pack and from the back end of the pack, but you need to be inside it to get a good hit in the pack. And slightly better control of the cue ball to play it from that side. So that's what I would assume Stubb will be working to. And again, having those 2 balls in the middle of the table, they're good balls to get on that 3 ball in a nice position. So he should be using one of them to get to the 3. But in the meantime, he needs to get rid of the 2, get up the table off this 13, get rid of the 9 or the 1, whatever it is up the table. Is that the 1? And then come out into the middle and decide what one he's getting rid of there. So the 3 ball from inside would be the shot. I would doubt very much he wants to be over here for the 3 ball, because you can easily get it wrong and block yourself out with the pack and leave yourself a bit too straight. So now he's getting rid of both the centre balls. So it looks odds on that he's going to try and get inside this 3 ball. And he's got a good enough line, but he needs to be a bit braver here and not leave it too straight. He needs to be going that wee bit more inside. I can't believe he's trying to come this side. The natural angle the cue ball wants to go is to come down this left side. He's keeping it in the table, and it's again too straight. He's going to catch the corner of the pack, if anything. Whether he's going to get a lot of movement, I don't know. And that's what can happen. You don't get them thick enough and heavy enough because you don't have the angle, so you don't get these balls moving a great deal. And he's now stuck and dead with nothing. And the run is 15. Well, that was slightly careless because he brushed the other ball there when he shouldn't have been, and he's left the cue ball out in the open, but luckily for Stubb, he's left nothing. There's nothing going. He certainly doesn't want to just push the 9 for a combo in the 12. Well, that 15 ball's getting cut up the table. Or the 13 is he going for? I would have thought the 15 was a bit easier. Yeah, that was just. I thought that 15 ball would have been a better line, but anyway, it's a few more points for POTMAN if he wants them. Only if he wants them. Well, this is where you take the 10 ball and you let that cue ball run and have a good smack. It's again as good a chance as any to hit this bunch of balls and just move stuff. Oh, that's a big target to miss. You've got to get the stun and the angle right off that ball to get into them. This is now relying on a bit of luck to have a shot. He's got a bailout ball up table. 13. And after that, he's got the 2, I would think, or possibly the 15. Now, the ideal ball to get on is the 5. If he can. I don't know whether he can go to the rail and try and get in the gap and come around to get on that 5 and leave an angle to give a nudge to these balls. Because the danger is if you stun this too hard with the 2, you're just going to run into the 3 balls in the rail. You might break something into play there, but well, he can do that off this one. If he takes the 15. And I don't think he's got a shot. Or has he got the 5? Well, he's not got a shot there with those 2 balls. He's got the 5 up the table though. But that's the ball that would have been ideal just to nudge those 3. So it's going to disappear. Now the angle's fine for potting this. You've just got to ignore the 14 because if you hit the right potting angle, it's going past it, no bother. Now what about that 6 ball? That's not going anywhere there. Well, there's a big risky shot that you could attempt. Well, that's actually better than nothing. He's got it. Clearly the 6 ball goes. And if he pots the 6, he's brushing off the 8. He should still leave the 8 ball on. He looks as if he's cutting the 8 and he's going to run into those 2. And again, straightforward enough, 14 ball up the table. Just pocket pace allows it to cheat the pocket and go in. Any harder, they stay up. But again, the 14 ball's a break ball, so it's disappearing as well. And these other 2 balls in the pack are dead. So it's damage limitation for the time being for Potman. Take what you can get and then run. Well, now if he's thinking ahead and pots these 2 balls, his last ball that he pots, he can leave an angle for the 11 ball when it gets spotted down in the kitchen line. I don't know whether he's thinking about that at all. But he's obviously not, because that would have been, again, taking your medicine. And if you get a good angle on it, you know you can pot it and the angle's going to take you to the pack. If you don't, you can bail out with a safety. And that's what I would have been doing there. That ball was in the pack at the back of the pack, so it would have been spotted in the kitchen line. And it would have been then up to you to get that good angle on it, to pot it and try and run into the pack. Now he's going to try it with a bit of spin here. And it's locked on. Is the 4 ball in play? Because he's stuck to the 8 ball. He's absolutely nailed to the 8 ball. He can't see the 4 and he can't see anything. Because he can't get past the 8 this side for the 5 and he can't get past the 4 that side, the 8 for the 4. He's absolutely glued to it. Couldn't have finished any worse. But he wouldn't have been in this position if he'd played the shot I was talking about. He'd a better chance of getting a better angle off the spotted ball down in that kitchen line. But that's hindsight's a great thing when you end up here. I mean, any other day it could have broke quite nicely, but the 4 ball came into play, but the cue ball was actually glued to the 8 ball. He's now going to try and kick the 4 in. His line was too narrow. And has he covered the 4? Well, that's actually... It could have finished worse than that. Let's put it this way. I mean, Stubb can't get to the 4. There's no way he's potting the 4. He's going to take a risky 13 ball, which I don't know whether he can get to the cut angle of it. Whether he can get there first before the cue ball hits the 12. We're about to find out. Yeah, he certainly could. So the lead is 90 points and climbing. Right, well, that's 2 nominations to go and have a look at the other match. So we will do that right now. And Silvia has got a lead. And at the table, in this one lost side match, race to 150. And there's a break ball there. Now, she could take the 10 and cut back across and, well, risk the scratch in the side pocket here to get on the 13. Or, I don't think that's as good a shot to try and run this forward and start spinning around angles. I don't like the look of that shot from here. But either way, you've got to get rid of that 13 ball. Maybe just try and get inside it far enough without running into the 1. Well, this is not going to be easy to get good on that 1 ball. That's a good shot, but is it going too straight? Yeah. It's way too straight. But I think there's enough there to pinch a wee bit of the 1 and a good get the amp on and catch that 13 ball. There's just enough room there to pinch a little bit of this 1 ball to give yourself a wee bit more angle and get right into that 13, get the amp on. Oh, the draw doesn't do the trick because that's asking for trouble. But she's got away with it and got a choice of shots. The 14 ball, well, if you roll it in with a medium pace, you're going to do damage to the cluster, but there's balls to be picked off here first. Now, you could go on that 6 ball into the side as well to break the pack, but that's way ahead. These other balls here are a lot easier to pick off than been too aggressive at this stage. See, the thing is that in this situation, it's very early on in the game, but you've got a nice little lead building up. What you don't want to do is make the wrong move and just allow your opponent to gather up these balls that should all be yours. So once you make that decision to go for this breakout, you've got to be getting another shot to follow and keep the run going just to keep that scoreboard ticking over. Again, it's not gone far enough. Too straight. The 6 ball's going to have to go this time. Now, if she just comes back off the 6, she can get on the 2. Well, I don't know whether she looked at that because the 2 goes, and if you get a high angle on the 2, you can do damage from the 2. But you have to play a good positional shot to get on the 2 because you didn't have any other bailout ball to play to the 2. So it's now at a stage where we're running out of balls to deal with this cluster. There's nothing set in them, and we're in no position here at the moment to improve that situation. It could be 2-ball. No, well, this time I think she's trying to get on the 2. Well, there is an angle there, but again, this has to be a firm stunt with the amp on just to get into that 15. If you, not the 15, the 7, to try and catch it. Just a little bit below the equator, nothing, half a tip to maybe catch that 7. But she looks as if she's going forward. No, she's coming down now, and she's caught the 7. And she's got a shot, and that will do. That's worked out nice. Okay, break balls are not exactly leaping out to grab you, but that doesn't matter. There's an opportunity at the back of the pack, and it's just about keeping scoring points. Caught that 7-ball. You had to amp that up just to get that, or change your mouse DPI, whatever you do, but you had to get the good pace of the shot there. The stroke had to be right through quick to get that little stun in to catch the 7, as much pace as you can. And it worked out nice. That's what you have to be doing. You have to be thinking. Well, the 5-ball would have done as a break ball. The 14-ball could have been a good ball to get to it. But the 5 is now gone. Now, the other problem is she's really ugly in this 14-ball. And, well, if she gets this thin, should be catching the 11. But this is a tester. Blind pocket shot. And narrow pockets. Overcut it. And so the run ends in 18. But there's a little lead for Silvia. So first target for Mr. Fox is reduce the deficit to 0. Well, see, the thing is, depending what kind of mouse you've got, I use a lot of really old mice from time to time. They're only 800 DPI. They don't have any settings on them or anything. And certain stun shots, I would use the amp. Well, I would need to if I was doing that shot that Silvia was playing there, because they couldn't really get enough with the mouse speed. See, there's a little miss there by Mr. Fox. I don't know whether he was trying to get into the pack there, but because it wouldn't have been really great to try and get a breakout off that 11, but he could have had ball in hand there on the 11 from inside like this. I mean, I've got that Logitech G5 mouse, which is an old mouse, but a very good mouse. And it's got the 3 buttons where you can change the DPI. Well, again, that was a pretty well-controlled shot just to break something out. It wasn't to try and do severe damage. Now, she could pot the 10, draw back, and catch the 2 balls at the back of that bunch there. And that's just freed up another one. But she's still got a shot. Now, if she cuts the 5, she could end up double kissing the 2 and have to bail out in this 13 ball up the table. Well, that'll do. The bailout is there if she wants it, and if she goes up the table, she's taking the 3 ball. 3 ball is on. These are little bonus balls here for Silvia, just to keep tallying that score up. Mr. Fox only scored like 1 or 2 there from that visit, and this is exactly how POTMAN should be doing it. You know, Mr. Fox is the favourite in this one, but Silvia's doing things a wee bit more sensible approach. So far, I've said this before, I think Silvia's interest in the game stays there as long as she stays in the match. If this was Mr. Fox building up this lead, the prospects of Silvia getting back into it begin to dwindle, because I think she just sort of loses the notion of trying to get back into it. I've seen that 2 or 3 times in this type of tournament. So the more that she builds up, the more keen she'll be to stay focused and keep capitalising on these chances when she gets them, just to stretch away. Well, you say that, Bedhead, and I would agree with you. You know, he had to produce a big run in that first match he had, because he wasn't in the game at all, and he got the high run. But you know, as long as he's left with nothing much and a lot of work to do, it's a tall order to start producing the goods if you don't get that shape. It's not always a guarantee you're going to land there and things are going to work out for you. But if you then start taking too many risks, again, that just falls into Silvia's hands. If she can just keep plugging away, taking what's there and running for cover. Now, has she got on this 7 ball? Because that would be ideal, just to get rid of it. I think she could just get enough of it. Maybe she's not so keen. Yeah, see, either or, those 2 balls are just a tiny bit awkward. I think there's enough there to get that. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not. She thought about it. Well, straight away, the run is 10. And again, Mr. Fox has to start from scratch on the deficit depletion. He has to get rid of that. Now, while he's picking these off, quick look at the Stubb POTMAN score. Stubb 157, POTMAN 34. So it's only a matter of time. And that 13 ball is ideal. Right in the middle of the pack. A nice distance from the pack. But now, he's gone ugly. You see how things can just take a backward step. And he's now, on his next visit, he's only scored 3. And an ideal break ball for Silvia here. And got to get this right. I mean, that 9 ball will do as well. The two of them are ideal. I mean, the 9 ball's close to the pack and it's at the head of the pack, but whatever one you can get on as good as you can. And the 6 ball would have been ideal for that. Well, here's an important shot. She's trying to get into the pack, and that is a sensible way to do it. Ball in hand. Okay, you're a longer distance away, but you're giving yourself the best chance to get as good a hit on this pack. It's all about the pot. The cue ball's doing the rest. Oh, that was a country mile out, that. Look at how far to the rail that 9 ball went. It was overcut by 3 inches. And it's a big error. And it's mistakes like that you don't want to start getting in the habit of making. So Mr. Fox's last visit was only 3, and Silvia's was only 2. And Mr. Fox, believe it or not, hasn't got a shot other than a kick. And he'll have to play the 15 next, I think. It's going to have to be the 15. Or unless he takes the 9, but the safest one's the 15. Just to keep him at the table. Right, I'll be back in a minute, guys. The heating's on. I'm going to start to melt here. Right, I'm back. Well, what Silvia needs to do is just forget about the last shot she played. She's going to get back to the table at some point, you would think. And then just has to start again. Now, why he didn't leave that shorter to get rid of the 8 or the 4 there, I don't know. Because it was an easy enough shot to get on any of those 3 balls there to take one of them out. And this time he's got there. So now we have these balls up table he wants to get rid of and work around. Well, possibly the 5. The 9 is in the pack. So if he's working on the 5, he's now got to play a good shot. And I think he's just going to drop through to the rail and out, possibly. Well, that's a bit more to work with than he probably wanted on this 7. Now, if he tries to stun across, he's going to end up too straight, and he's got too much angle to be dealing with here. Now it has to run and check up, which it has done, and that will do. Catch the last 2 balls on the left side of the pack, and a bonus ball and a shot. So now he's got a chance to put something together and creep ever closer. So the cluster of 4, there's nothing doing there. I presume he can see the 12. Yeah. And he's gone to the rail. He would have wanted to be off the rail. He could have been potting this and stunning into them and still holding for the 8 ball there. It got stuck to the rail. So now the problems, the cluster and how it may affect that possible break ball. The 13 ball would be more than acceptable as a break ball, but now he's had a blast to try and improve it, and that's ended the run. The run is 20, and Mr. Fox is still 11 points behind and counting, but he's created an issue on the side rail there that isn't really an issue as long as you can get on the 15, because that's a dead set combo. And the 8 ball, you can take it out of the way, or you could pot the 8 and break the 2 of them out anyway. So this is not a bad situation, because we've also got a chance to get rid of the 1 ball or the 13 and keep one in either or as a break ball. But we have to work on how we deal with this situation here. Well, I don't necessarily think that nudge was needed, because we have to deal with this set here on the side. Oh, well, it's going to have to be a nasty cut up the table. There's not really much an alternative here. It's got to be the 9. And the other thing is, there's only 1 ball on unless she gets desperate and ends up in the 13 one way or another. And she's overcut it by a mile. And again, the last 3 contributions here by Silvia are not helping her situation. She's had a lead. Thought it might have been going in that last visit from Mr. Fox, and it may well be going from this visit. But he's also got an issue, because the 15 goes anyway, so he's got to get either all around the table to get on it, or playing it from the short end up the table. So there's a critical time here to get really nice on this break ball and punish Silvia for her discretions. Now, is he trying to dig into this, or is he letting it run around? If he tried to dig into this, he could draw into the 15. If he gets it really sweet, well, it could have finished better. Again, another blind pocket shot. I don't know why Stubbs PMing me. Stubbs won out in the end. 200 points to 33. Ran a 60. Oh, that's his highest run of the tournament. Well, he's got the 6 ball out. He's not getting much else. Unless there's something in the pack. And he's locked on. So just a run for cover here. So we'll have a look at the stats. And we'll see Stubbs' long run or longest run. So we can see that Mr. Fox is still in the lead with 87. Hairpig on 67. Stubb has moved on to 60. Bedhead on 56. Tommy on 48. Larry on 45. Moz on 42. Sir Gresh on 41. And all the rest chasing after them. Well, Mr. Fox sacrificing the point. He's now in 1 foul. But the most important thing is he's leaving Silvia nothing. So 1 foul all. Yeah, if he gets up to the corner there, he's not leaving anything on other than a very ambitious combo in the 2. And Silvia can bank the 14 up the table and just finish behind the pack. Now, is she playing off the 4 to go behind the pack from that side because she could leave the 14 on doing that? Well, that's went far enough. Now, this time, Mr. Fox doesn't really want to go up the table. Trying to again get behind the pack. And Silvia's got an easy safety. Just punch the 14 up the table. Lock the cue ball. So I'm getting the blame, Emma. Yeah, we're going to have a wee bit of strategy here to see who wins this battle because Mr. Fox is within 7 points. And sooner or later, something's going to pop out. And I think the 12 ball is still safe. 2 ball just doing enough to block the pocket. Now, again, there's an easy safety off the 12 just to run up to that corner and leave a dodgy 2 ball, leave a bit of bait. And that's the shot I'd be playing. I'd be just running up to that top corner off that 12 ball, just a little feather off the 12, skim, and a nice open angle to get right up into the corner pocket and not scratch, obviously. So once again, we're not going for distance, we're going to use the pack as cover, and that's going to lead to a mistake at some point. And that cue ball needs to stay there. And it has just stayed in cover. So now it becomes more difficult to keep things safe, because if you overhit it one way, you'll leave the 15 on. If you underhit it the other way, you could leave the 2 in play or the 8 into the side. So this needs a bit more thought. And that's a good one. That'll do it. So that match between Stubb and POTMAN only lasted about 1 hour 45, something like that, maybe just under that, because I started my clock 40 minutes late. The match had been going 40 minutes before I remembered to start it. So that's again one of the quicker matches, but it was way too one-sided. Well, this is quite an important situation here for Silvia. She's going to take the bait in this 5 ball. It's by no means easy. And that was, again, another one that just never got anywhere near the pocket. I mean, that is what, a diamond off in the short rail. That was really, really struggling to pick the potting angle there. Well, the mistake's been made, and Mr. Fox has got 3 or 4 balls to work with here. Well, that's again taking the big risk to draw into the pack, but he's got a shot, and he might as well slam the 7 in if he's got enough angle to work with, and then hope he gets lucky again and gets on a shot. Could do a bit of movement. Well, the 10 goes in, bonus ball, and he draws ever closer to getting rid of the deficit. Another little testy one. He's certainly going to split the remaining balls there. And he's got a break ball. 4 ball would do. It's at the top of the pack at a push. Well, he's run into that as well, so he's now going to have to just maybe pot the 11 and stay behind those 2 balls to get rid of one of them. But in his previous shot, he's now killed his break ball. Oh, that's the replay I've got on. Hang on a minute, I forgot to hit the button. I'm missing the chat. Oh, that's going to be a squeeze. It's a cut up the table. Presume it's the 12 he's taking. This is not easy. So, Mr. Fox has a slender lead. And that lead should be wiped out here. MC Clarkey 30, Guru. Oh, are they playing as well? Oh, they must have just arranged that tonight then. Well, this is one of these where you want to be a wee bit straighter in the 4 ball if you could. And that's way too much. Way too heavy. Because it's one of them where if you'd got to sort of there, you could run into the pack. But this angle is no good. Oh, I mean, the guys in the States don't think anything of driving 100 miles to their friends. You know, because most of the time that's down a freeway anyway. You get there in an hour or two. God, I mean, driving across some of the states in the States, it takes you all day to drive across them. John O'Groats to Land's End is what, 900 miles? That's about as far as you can drive in the UK from the northeast of Scotland to the southwest tip of England. And that would certainly take you a good few hours to do that. I think that was a miss there. I don't think he caught anything. So a point away. We're now back all square, 47 all. And now we're going to have another tactical battle, which Mr. Fox won the last one. Good evening to Semi-Pro. Well, see if you ever do meet up with Stubb, give him a right hook from me. At least you know if you ever get in a fight with him, he'll be doing an awful lot more kicking than punching. That's one thing that's guaranteed. Well, the ball went clean through the gap. Now, is that 14-6 set? That'd be a bit ambitious, and it isn't set anyway, so. Oh, this is brave. Silvia calls the 14 into the corner. And once again, the run is only 2. The contributions from Silvia are drying up rapidly here. And I have to say, it was since I joined the room. It's all went downhill since I appeared. She had the lead, and it's all gone. And the pressure was taken off Mr. Fox by the fact that when Silvia's had these 2 or 3 chances to capitalise on them, she's failed in all of them to actually open up the gap again. There's not one of them that she's got. Now she's been handed a lifeline here again. Mr. Fox has dried up with just 3. Well, if ever you need encouragement to get yourself sorted out here and really get focused, this is it. There's a bunch of balls here to be taken to get back into the lead. Well, Silvia had the lead when I joined the room. It was, what, 38 something. I think Mr. Fox was still in single figures, but he's just gradually worked his way back in it. Silvia's had 3 or 4 visits where she's only scored 2 and 3 on them. And that's about the gist of it. And now she's got a chance here to regain the lead with a critical shot to come at the end of the rack. And a break ball, I think, that's been set. That 11 ball will do. So now she's got a ball to work around. And she's got a couple of balls to get good on the 12 to get rid of it. The 12 ball is the one you would want rid of from there. It just, the 10 ball goes if you get behind it from that side, but I think the 12 ball you want to get rid of it. And these 2 balls up the table there leave a good opportunity to get onto that 12, take it out of the way. You're a bullshit artist, not a martial artist. You're a bloody black belt in bullshit, I'll tell you that. So it's getting to the nitty gritty. The 12 ball still there, drop through in the 1 onto the 12, get rid of it, stay top side of the 12 to drop onto the 15. And the 10 ball's a good ball. Well, she's gone through further than she would like. And now the brave shot would be to pot the 15 and go up into the gap to go on the 12. I mean, this is just a pace control shot. Now she's going to hopefully find a gap. from that side. The 10 ball would have been ideal to land good on the 11, and it's going to go. And what's more, she's the wrong angle in the 10. So this is it. It's up the middle of the table and hold the line. And that will do. It just needs to slow up. It's just running further away than you would want. But it's a good angle. Again, no forward momentum and not too much drop. And this time, she's got the break and got a shot. And got balls behind the pack that can be picked off. The 9 balls there, 14 balls in the open. Nothing would be classed as a break ball that's in among start lot yet. But that's not what it's about at the moment. It's just about taking what is there. Now, the one shot here would be to try and get onto that 9 where you're running into them. If you go too far, you should still have the 14. I don't know whether she tried that there or not, but she still got the 14 ball up the table or the 4. But had she got sort of there with the donut, that would have been ideal just to run into something. And now we're running out of opportunities again. Not a great angle in the 12 in terms of actually keeping it good on the next ball. This 12 ball's a wee bit dodgy, but it's the only choice. There's nothing else there. Well, you could be really crazy. I don't know whether you can see enough of that 8 ball. No, you can't. So that takes that out of the equation. It's a dodgy 12 ball. And that's why they're dodgy. When you stun them at that pace, they hit the jaw, they don't go. And now Mr. Fox has got the shot to nudge stuff. So Silvia again has got herself a little lead. And it's just a little bit of chasing that Mr. Fox has to do again. Well, he's dead straight in the 1. Is he trying to roll through the 14? I think he's... I mean, he can pot the 14. But I don't know whether he would catch any of those 2 balls in doing it. And now he's on the 8. The 8 goes. That's perfect. But where's the break ball? 14 doesn't look great. And these other 2 balls all in the pack, and now he's got himself in trouble. He's blocked himself out in the 7th and having to take the blind shot again. Well, Mr. Fox might not be getting rid of this deficit from this visit. So now he's got to think about running up the table for a potting angle on this 9 when it's spotted. And I think he's dead straight. Yep, he's bolt straight. So this is going to be the end of the run. Now, I don't know. This is going over my head, semi-pro. Oh, by the way, guys, it's Hugh's birthday today, so wish him a happy birthday. Bear in mind, my birthday's on August 18th. Nice of you to stream on your birthday. Now, Semi-Pro's going to have to explain himself with that one because I don't know where that's come from. I don't know what he's on. He's on something. So, 2 points in it. And anything could nudge out here. I think what we'll do is we will go to the calendar. We will go to Friday night 9 ball and see how things are going there. Well, Larry was on there a hiding to nothing, giving 5 and out to Christian. Christian sent him to the 1 loss side in his second match. But Christian then folded against Chimpy with 6 and out and lost 7-0. And Chimpy now playing brain fell out. So what happened to Spectre Dawn? Where did he go? Spectre Dawn lost 7-5 to DJ Redo in the first match. No, wait a minute. No, Spectre Dawn lost 7-5 to Chimpy, who was getting the 8 ball. And so we've got John Boo with Christian and Larry with DJ Redo in the 1 loss side. Well, Spectre Dawn and Larry are going to have to battle and do it the hard way through that 1 loss side. Let's have a quick look and see how that other match is doing. the Great Guru and MC Clarkey is up by 57 points to 20. I don't think we've missed anything, but the pack is now well open, and Mr. Fox has sacrificed a point but left Silvia nothing. Now they're both on presumably one foul each, and Mr. Fox looking to push the 7 to the rail, but he's played that really poorly. He has not got the stun to kill the cue ball, and he's left a shot. And Silvia with a narrow 2-point lead. Trying to get birthday spam for you. Well, try doing that nearer the time. Start doing it about August the 15th. Well, I presume she's taking the 2. I also then assume she's looking at what her next ball's going to be after it, which could be the 11. In fact, it could be the 11 or the 13. But if you take the 11, which is the one up behind the 8 ball up there, you can bring the cue ball across just out for the 4. Good evening to Mr. Hogg. Or good afternoon, whatever bloody time of day it is. Well, again, there's not an obvious break ball. The 10's right at the back of the pack, and it's about to go, I think. But I don't think... I think if Silvia wants to keep it tight, she might not be that concerned about a break ball other than just to get rid of what's there. If she gets a nice brush off this, well, I think it's too straight. Yeah, the 12's too straight. A slightly better angle to the right here with the cue ball. She could have brushed that 15 into the game. And she doesn't want to try and pinch too much to try and do that from this shot, though. Yeah, I think it's far better taking what is there, and if you can't get good on that break ball or get any sort of shot, then you know what to do. Just run for cover. Just keep the little lead. £4 p.m, so that's, 4:15, so that's Eastern Standard Time. I saw some of the news pictures earlier on this evening there before I came to VP4, and some of the storm damage that was going on. One woman standing in the street talking to the interviewer on her roof, and a couple other houses' roofs were all lying in the street. Poor woman. And then there's another guy filming an old tree in their village. I presume it was their village or their part of the town, and no sooner is he filming it than the bloody thing just topples over, and that's it. That's it, knocked out for 6. And then the spire fell down off a church. And then they ended the news saying that I can't remember where it was, that the Coast Guard had to talk people out of going in for a swim. bloody hurricane force winds and folk are wanting to get in for a swim. You got to laugh. Good evening to Slim. Yeah, bedhead's all fixed. Yeah, if only had reinstalled his router a week ago. Now, how did Mr. Fox get back to the table? Because I've missed that there by looking at the chat. How's this ended up? He's back at the table scoring. Well, he's again trying to create something out of nothing there. Didn't have the angle. And he's still 11 points behind. And now he's in business. That little run through. Force follow. Breaks out half a dozen balls. Hey, Hog, what are you doing in the stream and then typing in the chat? And I bet you's typed that mistake. I thought that. There you go. What a numpty. This is too technical for you, Hog. Yeah, that poor bugger. The poor bugger going swimming with the sharks. Oh dear. Well, there's another disaster for Mr. Fox, still trailing. He's actually locked up a couple of balls in the process. But Silvia, back at the table, let off the hook. Now, if you play ball in hand and just roll through, little nudge, you've then got to hope that you don't lock up and you've still got a shot. And I don't think she's got a shot, I'm afraid. That is way too tight to get to the potting angle of that 4-ball. And that's the worst possible outcome. 1 point scored. Nothing doing. And she didn't have to break them though. But she could have asked for a better run than that though, in terms of how the balls did finish up. That was unlucky. And again though, has to be said though, it's only a contribution of 1. Yeah, it's 150 because it's the one loss side. 150 in the one loss side, 200 in the winner's side. Now, did I leave that on Friday night 9-ball? No, I didn't. Ah, yes, I did. No, I didn't. I'm back on the main tourney. So, MC Clarkey, 70 points. Guru, 32. Well, this has been taking a similar pattern for the last few racks where Mr. Fox has been trying to get back into the lead and then trying to get away, and he hasn't been getting away yet. And I think the major problem for Silvia is her contributions have really dried up. It would be ideal to to put something in the board just to open a reasonable little gap, put a wee bit more pressure on him. He's now got ball in hand for the break shot. And a bonus ball and a shot. And now all square. He might go for it again off this 8 ball if he's got a decent enough angle. I think he has. Get a little nudge going. Well, I think he only has to pot this and roll through with a bit of top. I don't think he needs to slam this. Again, the worst that can happen is he'll be on the 7 ball up the table. But I think he's having second thoughts. He's maybe just going to pick off what's there, which again would be the sensible thing to do for the time being, just to get the scoreboard going in his favour. But sooner rather than later, something has to go. Now, the problem with the 4 ball is it doesn't go. Well, he's only got 2 choices here. Get out onto the 7. He might have stunned and tried to go onto the 15, but he's not going to have a lot available to him here. Again, trying to draw into these 2 balls, the 5 and the 9. And he's missed them. He's just glanced around them. And now he's just going to be thinning the 15 unless he can get to the 5. And he can get to the 5. And it goes. At least I think it goes. Yes, it goes. And now he's certainly got a chance of a break ball where the 2's sitting, but again it's almost at the back of the pack. So ideally the shot would be somewhere like that for the 2 ball to get the cue ball going the right direction into the bunch of balls. Well, I'm of the opinion, as probably most people are, who don't go swimming in the ocean, particularly where there's predators. If you put yourself into that situation for your own enjoyment, then that's the risk you take, I'm afraid. You know, the animal's not out to kill people. The animal's out to survive, and its predator instincts react on motion and stress signals. And when somebody's flapping about in the water, that's all that triggers a shark. And if it was a proper fish, it would be the chemical stimulus that it gets. But in this case, it's like stress signals it gets, so it's just going to make a beeline for whatever it thinks is food. And unfortunate for that guy, it was him. It's just the risk you take. Now, what the hell's happened here? Ah, there we go. So, ball in hand. The run is 21, counting to 22, and the lead is just beginning to open up, and ball's there for the taking. Well, Potman, how do you mean he wasn't flapping about? If you're in the water and moving about, you're flapping about and creating electric signals to the shark. Any unusual movement in the water, flapping about with flippers on and all sorts of crap, and an oxygen mask, an air supply. All of these things stimulate the sharks. So the safest place to be is on a boat or on land. End of. There's no in between. Did any of you ever see that clip on YouTube about the guys in the boat with the beluga whale? You know the kind of white whale with the sort of the big dome in its head, where they're throwing a ball out into the sea and the big whale's going and getting it and bringing it back to them so they can throw it again. Well, I think Mr. Fox is in full focus now. He's in a run of 28, and his lead is 19. I saw a video yesterday, was it Facebook, where the guy's driving along. He's obviously got a camera in his car. I don't know whether it's one of those 4x4s, but he's got the passenger side window open, and the next thing you know, a bloody like a kestrel or something lands in the passenger seat, comes flying in through the window. Guy shit himself. Poor thing was injured. I don't know whether it was injured or, as to why it ended up landing inside the car, but he made a beeline for the exit as soon as he could. Well, we're now at the same stage that we always end up in these straight pull racks. We've got the 9-ball behind the pack. As good a ball as any for the break shot because there's nothing else there. But those couple of balls are good to get to the 9. Very adjacent, which is what you want. So you'll be looking to get square on this 9-ball. The 5 ball is in the pack as well, so both of them have to get got rid of. Was it a snake eagle? Never heard of it, Larry, but it certainly wasn't as big as the big birds, but it's got bloody claws and talons on it that could do you damage, and a beak as well. So this is what you should have been doing, Potman. Exactly what Mr. Fox is doing. Taking the money and running. Getting your points on the board and then just bailing out, running and hiding, leaving nothing. The run ends in 35, but the lead is whatever it is, 26, is it? Something like that. And I think that that 10 ball's just exposed. And luckily for Silvia, there's not going to be a lot of damage done. But he's going to send this 9 and 4 ball up the table, I think. Yeah, and just lock the cue ball. Now, has he got unlucky? Oh, I think that's... Yeah, he's got cover. And spiders as well. You missed out spiders there, Slim. Australia is one of the worst places for venomous spiders. That's one thing about Scotland. We've got very little to do you any harm. The only thing that could do you harm here is an adder or a viper. That's our only poisonous snake. But even if you get yourself to the hospital quick enough, you'll survive. That's the advantage of staying in a sort of a damp, temperate climate that we stay in. We don't have a suitable environment for rattlers and fancy spiders. Well, Silvia, back at the table, and now she's in the same boat that Mr. Fox was in for most of this match so far, chasing the tail of the opponent. But it's a slightly taller order for Silvia to get rid of this 25 deficit here. Got to hold it together to stay in the game. Because don't forget, it's only a run to 150. So she's not got an awful lot to work with. If she messes up here, it's asking for trouble. Or let's put it this way, messes up way too soon. Oh, she's Jane. No, she's not Jana. Who the hell's Tarzan, by the way? I thought you were talking about that. Is it that Yana? No, she's definitely a Jane. Well, again, pocket weight, it's got to go in. Well, that's overcut. That is overcut again. She's not picking the line. And once again, for about the 10th time, the visit is short and sweet. It's only 4. And this is exactly what she didn't want to do. That's no contribution at all. Still trailing by 22. And Mr. Fox has a couple of shots. He's looking at the 5, I think, if he can take the opportunity from it. I think he's convincing himself if he can see the 5. I doubt it. He could maybe run it off the 6 into the pocket, but the combo will get him going. Just got there in the end.
Oh, wee Nicola Sturgeon. Wee Jimmy Cranky fan happy dozy.
Yeah, there's a classic song.
Fan-dabby-doozy, fan-dabby-doozy, fan-dabby-doozy as we danced all night.
There's a classic. Well, it's going to have to be the bailout, I would think, here. This doesn't look too great. Easy enough to stop for the 8 ball, though. Good evening to... I've forgotten the name again. Mooncake. See, I remembered it. I just had to give myself some breathing space there. Well, again, we've got a situation with none too inviting for a break shot. The 5 ball in towards the rail is below the pack, more or less. And the 15 balls below the pack. And none are ideal. But it's make do with what you've got here. Again, easy enough to pick them up and run for cover. Or do something daft and try and create something. When you've only got one shot at it, that's the problem with this. Well, he's trying to cut. He's certainly going to hit them. And watch this cue ball. If it catches him and runs up the table towards us, or if it gets it the pack thick, if he glances off it, he can go up the table and scratch. And he's hit them thick. And he's got a shot. And this is going to be painful for Silvia. Because again, it's all down to these opportunities she's had and the very little contribution she's made in the last hour. It feels like it. Very little. And that's allowed Mr. Fox right into the game. And slowly but surely, he's building up a very strong lead. And just edging closer to that number. 150. And while he's picking off here, quick update on Friday night 9 ball. Where the hell is it? I think we'll do it the easier way. We'll find a result in the lobby. There we go, that's the easier way of doing it. And see how things are going here. So, we've got Chimpy, who's just beaten Brainfield out 7-0 as well. So his last two results, Christian, he's beat 7-0. And then Brainful out 7-0, giving a hefty handicap to Christian and giving the 5-ball to Brainful out. And he's through to the hot seat, in fact, he's through to the final. And over on the win-loss side, Larry has gone. And where the hell did Spectre Dawn go? He's disappeared. When did he disappear in the tournament? In fact, I thought he was in the tournament. Or did I miss something here? Why can't I see Spectre Dawn? Right, there he's there. Oh, he got beat 4-0 by John Boo. No, he didn't. He did. He got beat 4-0 by John Boo. That's why it's all... Yeah, so all the big guns are gone tonight, and the handicap's done them. So it's John Boo and Brainful out fighting for the place in the final with Chimpy. There's a surprise. Oh shit, wrong button. I'm getting tired. Wrong button. Well, Silvia back at the table. Now, the first target for Silvia is 3 figures. She's 21 away. But to do that, you've got to start putting racks together. And the table's not good. And she wanted a bit squarer in this 15 ball. I mean, maybe she should have checked that cue ball a bit more to bring it more into line, because it's nowhere near good. She could have probably got a wee bit squarer on that, and then trying to run into them from an angle that was never good to do that anyway. So the first mistake there was not getting the right shape in the 15, because that was the best chance to deal some damage to this situation that's right in the middle of the pack. It is extremely unlikely she's going to score much more than 3 or 4 here. And again, I mean, if there's anything that's been noticeable here tonight, it is how much Silvia is way off the mark with some of these cuts. She's not picking the angle whatsoever. I mean, we're talking first diamond away from the pocket. That's how bad they are. She's not just done one of them, she's done 3 or 4 of them like that. Now, there you go. How about that? Find the gap just when you don't want to find it. So Mr. Fox is in the same situation, but he's got a much better angle on the 12 ball to try and get some sort of hit here. Well, now Silvia's got a problem. We've got a ball in the kitchen. She's got no shot on. And is going to have to do well to keep this table safe. Well, in the end, she's gone for the deliberate foul. So Mr. Fox is on 1 fill. Silvia on 1 fill. And Mr. Fox is looking at a line to kick the 11 into the side, round the rails. And he's not on the line at all. He probably would have been better just... I don't know why he went the rails. I think he would have just as much a chance of that going in had he just come down and kicked to 2. You know, mind you, was that ball in hand he had? It was ball in hand, so it would have been far easier just to bank to the short rail and kick the 2. It wasn't any less or more likely to go in. Anyway, Silvia's now back to the same situation. She's potted the ball, didn't get a hit. And nothing goes. And she can't go behind the bunch of balls because she'll leave the 7 and the 4 up the table. Well, she could just, again, sacrifice a point and just roll to the 11 ball. That shouldn't do any harm. The other option would be to brush the 11 and try and get to the rail somewhere there without bringing that 2 ball into play as much. Again, it's got to be a feather-light touch. Now, what's she called here? She's going for the same thing. But it's got to be straight onto the rail and kick. And if this goes in, Mr. Fox will be thinking why he didn't do it himself. Yeah, it's pushed. Yeah, that kick just pushed the 11 away off the line. So maybe Mr. Fox did have the right idea, trying to get it right on the point of the 2 ball. But she's not left anything easy. Well, he's 2 straight in the 2. Not an awful lot he can do. I don't know whether he can stun this hard enough to try and get in behind them. Well, he certainly got in behind him, but that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking about just stunning it to drop in behind him. Well, Silvia's got a shot here. Pot the 4, got up the top side of the 7, not too far up the top, but leave the cut into the side pocket to get the hit on the pack. Loads of room to get there. It just needs to slow up. And it's gone dead straight. But it's slightly inside. The problem is, though, is it has to be forced. And hopefully doesn't lock up for her, and it hasn't done. And the other issue is there isn't another shot on. Going to have to come up the table or draw into the pack and hope you get lucky here. 8 balls obviously in the open, but there's nothing else that's really good. Well, that's a bit tight. Yeah, it was not the shot. I don't know why she didn't get herself up the table. She's trying her best to get herself into the most awkward situations here. And the run ends on 3 again. A multitude of non-contributions from Silvia has more or less played herself out of the game here. There's going to have to possibly be a combo. I mean, he may well run into the pack, and he's got to play it again. Or can he see the 14? Has he spotted the 14? That is tight. It does go though. Again, when you're running forward off this, you just don't want to brush off the 9 and go straight in after the 14. You get too much fizz in the cue ball, that's what can happen. Well, he's hit the 9 full in the face, left it on, and well, a bit of work to do though. There's not an awful lot more available after these couple of balls in the 8 ball go. Welcome back to Moz. Well, I think it's time for a bit of Clint's advice for Silvia.
Now remember, when things look bad, and it looks like you're not gonna make it, then you gotta get mean. I mean plumb mad dog mean.
That's the best advice I can give her. Oh, the cue ball's thinking about it. How's the spin working? It's holding the cue ball up. It just hit the first rail there. And that stopped the cue ball getting into the pocket. But it's going to have to be a cut in the 1. Just roll it in dead weight, I would think. Nothing spectacular needed here. Because you've got the 5 up the table, or the 15 along the rail, or the 13 or the 2. There's balls to be chosen here. They are available. And that, that 3 and 4 isn't set. That's just a perfect pace, just to put you in play. And now he's 29 away from the finishing line and going ever further away from Silvia. And pretty much playing her out the game unless she suddenly gets a chance and puts a contribution together. It's pretty much last chance saloon if she gets an opportunity, because you know, all the most recent contributions, you can keep counting them, but there's been far too many, and they've all ended on 2 or 3, and that's what's killed her chances in this match. You've got to have the staying power. You've got to keep making contributions, and they've just dried up, basically, since I joined the room. And I don't know whether, you know, whether it's the fact that she now knows that because I'm in the room I'm streaming. I don't know whether that's what's doing it for her. I mean, there's nothing to be nervous about. But it could be a factor that's playing in her mind. She might be paranoid at what's been spoken about her. on the stream, I don't know, but it tells you straight away your mind's not in the game if you're worrying about these other things. With Mr. Fox now with an ideal break ball, and he'll do severe damage here, I would think. Damage is done. Pretty nigh perfect. I think Mr. Fox is waiting for Silvia to come back. I think that's what it is. I've just realised reading the chat. What have I missed in the chat there? Let me have a look. Hang on a minute. I need to get out of my chair to read this. MC Clarkey. You still playing, by the way? Or is that match over? Oh, I'm back in Friday Night 9 Ball, I forgot. Anyway, it's John Boo and Chimpy in tonight's Friday Night 9 Ball final. John Boo's getting the 5 ball. Chimpy's 1-0 up. So it's going to be a quick Friday Night 9 Ball. That was a full house tonight. And, last week it was pretty much nearly 4 hours, if not more. I can't remember, but tonight is going to be possibly just around about the 3.5 hours. Doesn't look like it. But the thing is, as long as he keeps potting balls, it doesn't matter when she gets back. The idea is to pot enough balls so that she comes back and doesn't have a shot. Game's over. Well, that's pretty much over, that game, unless there's a sudden turnaround in fortune by the look of it. I think Sylvia's got in a train and headed out of town. Or she's maybe taking Clint's advice and getting herself mad dog mean. I take it you've gone to bed, Mark, because I haven't heard anything out of Mark tonight. He must have long gone. It's 10 o'clock, well past his bedtime and mine. Yeah, Steve was headed south for the night. So, Mr. Fox, 19 away from the finishing line. And a whole handful of balls here to be picked off. Every one of them is on one way or another. Every one of them's got a pocket somewhere in the table. And a line to get on them. Although, can you see this 2-ball? Yes, you can. So now the lead is 50, and that is most certainly, I think, way beyond Silvia. It's not beyond her in terms of if she made the most of a good chance if she got it, but I think by what's went on in the last hour, she's pretty much dead and buried. Mr. Fox just completing the formalities here, provided he can get that next ball to open the pack for the next rack. Is POTMAN gone as well? Is he headed for bed? The ball sneaked out the door. They don't make any announcement. They just sort of sneak out the back. Hope nobody notices them. POTMAN, are you old enough to remember Love Thy Neighbour? Oh, there's a mistake. You've got to be a certain age to remember Love Thy Neighbour. But Jack Smethurst has died. He was 89. Right. Jack Smethurst played the white guy in it. Eddie was his name. So, this is, as I said earlier, last chance saloon for Silvia. And she's going to have to play some sort of shot here because Mr. Fox has landed really fortunate. He's left nothing on. And well, she called the 7 and it went into the pocket she called. And she stays at the table. So the target is to get to 3 figures. So that needs the remainder of these balls. That 6 or 14 ball is the break ball to continue. Just to make the scoreboard look a wee bit more respectable. Oh no, you'll never ever see Love Thy Neighbour on the telly again. I mean, I'm even surprised that the show they're showing Benny Hill on the BBC Scotland channel up here. If you go to iPlayer, just in case you're wondering, and if you've never been aware of it, if you go to iPlayer, right at the bottom of the screen, if you set your region to Scotland, you'll then be able to look at the BBC Scotland channel and you can watch Benny Hill. They're showing repeats of Benny Hill on it. I don't know whether they're showing them down south, but we've got the BBC Scotland channel up here and you can watch like half a dozen Benny Hill episodes at night. They show them with a warning. They always give you the warning. Yeah, Rising Damp is, there's too much of this sort of racial innuendo in Rising Damp. Again, that's the way it is nowadays. And MC Clarkey has gone through against the Great Guru by 150 points to 55, so fairly straightforward in the end. And Silvia at the table once again with no shot. And this is how you've got to play it. You've got to take your points and keep it tight. And Mr. Fox has been doing that for the last hour or so. And that's why he's pulled away. And Sylvia's opportunities, when she's had them, have just fizzled out before they've begun. Yeah, we'll get Hazel. You've got to have Hazel, for God's sake. Everybody loves Hazel. What is there not to love about Hazel Irvine? Tell me. Right, good luck in the next round, whoever you might end up with. I haven't even looked. And I can't be bothered either. I'll look at that another time. So, Mr. Fox 8 away and they're all there. So this is the formalities. And while he's doing that, quick look at what's happening in the final of the Friday night. And Chimpy is 3 racks to 1 up. We'll drop in on that. We'll drop in and see if we can jinx Chimpy. There we go. Well, I think Mr. Fox has just killed himself there with that one. He's on nothing. He's going to have to kick the 15 in. Just have to catch that edge. Just to cut it in. Well played. Oh, and you can't see it anyway. Forget that. Forgot about the chat. I forgot about that chat. Oh, another bonus ball. And it's game over. So Mr. Fox goes through by 150 points to 85. And it's amazing how that match just died a complete death for Silvia after I joined the room. She had a nice little lead. And that was it. Everything after that was bits and pieces. And Mr. Fox just built his way back into the game, froze her out the game, gave her enough chances to score, but she couldn't take advantage of them. So he's through to the next round. Meanwhile, Friday night 9 ball is in the middle of the final. If we can get in the room. And Chimpy, who's given John Boo the 5 ball. And I've jinxed John Boo because he's overcut the 2. I think that is going to end up in the knuckle if it doesn't scratch. Yeah, so John Boo, I've maybe jinxed Chimpy. John Boo just a 4 ball and a 5 ball to get back to within 1. You see the effect I can have on people by joining the room. It's an amazing talent. I never even knew I was born with this talent. So now we know that we're in the final. What I can do is I can go to that result that came through, bring up the bracket for the Straight Pool Championship. If we look at the upcoming matches, we've got, I don't know whether this match will go ahead, but we've got Acero set to play with Eloquenti at 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. We've got Shibo against Bankster. These are both one-loss side matches. We've also got LS3 and Wanwa to play, and they're going to be playing at 8:40 p.m. on Sunday night. But before that, at 7 p.m, we have the big match of the weekend. We've got the match between Moz from England, based in the USA brackets, against Albinario from Sweden. And Albinario's been putting a fair bit of practice in the last couple of days. Albinario knows that he's got to be on his game. Moz, as much as he's a newcomer, he knows how to pop balls. And the longer he's in the tournament, the more he's finding his feet. So that match, 7 p.m. on Sunday night, I'll be there for that. Steve says he may well be there. We'll wait and see. And the other thing to say, as I said, I've messed about with Discord. Goodness knows what it's going to sound like. But we'll find that out on Sunday night if Steve joins us. And I'll see if I can jinx Moz. Meanwhile, Chimpy has got rid of John Boo's money ball, and he's going to finish on the bottom side of this 7. Is who in Discord? I went on to Discord yesterday, and I think I looked in the VP4 lobby, and I think there was about 10 or 12 in the VP4 chat lobby. I was only on messing about with my channel. I was messing about with all the sound settings and everything. I had a quick look. So, Chimpy with a 5-3 lead that can change very quickly if he makes the mistake at the wrong time, as we saw in that previous rack, or the rack before the last one. Got to keep potting balls. Well, no sooner have I said that, he's missed the 1. And the 1 is dead on. Now, the question is asking John Boo is, can he get to the 5 ball? Well, he's no problem getting to the 3. The problem's getting from the 3 to the 4. And I think the closer he goes to that rail, the straighter the 3 ends up. So he's got an angle, and he's got to find a gap, and he has done, and he's going to be back to within 1, because all he has to do is roll the 4 and roll the 5. And that's how easily it is to take advantage of these unforced errors from Chimpy. He's made 2 of them. You'll need to get one of the guys that's in it to give you. I'm not switching on Discord to do that, but just ask Simon, ask Steve-O, ask Mr. Fox, ask Chase One Around, ask Brian Redback. You can ask all of those guys. They're all on it. Well, I presume John Boo was trying to play a safety there. As a quick look back, he missed that one into the side. I presume he was trying to pot it or play safe, I don't know. Chimpy back at the table. He's knocked to 3 dead. And he'll be looking to just tuck that away behind the 8 and run for cover. 8 ball can act as a stopper and just get big distance between the two. Well, he could well find himself in trouble himself here in a minute, because if John Boo can get this a feather edge in the 3, he can do the same thing. And that is perfect. That is a beautiful little shot. That's how you have to hit them. When you're talking thin, it's as thin as that. Best shot of the night in terms of a safety. You've got to be brave to go for the feather edge. If you get it sweet like that, you'll bury your opponent. And I think there might be a line just before the middle pocket to catch the edge of that 3. There might be a line just before the middle pocket. Yeah, maybe a wee bit of spin needed as well by the look of it. The line was there, but maybe not the ideal angle. But it was such a tough shot to be left with, and that's a good safety. Now, once again, when you've done the hard work and you've got the good safety and you've got the reward, you've got to get on that 4 ball and find your way down the left side of this 5 ball. That needs to slow up. It needs to keep slowing. Oh, it's just gone to that awkward shot again. But in it goes. And now we've got a game on. We are 5 racks all. And that's how to take advantage not only of that 5 ball money ball, but of an excellent safety shot. And John Boo breaks off in rack number 11. The 7 ball is gone. He's not got a pretty shot in the 1. But again, he can play a half-decent safety if he wants. And I think he went for the pot. Now, there's a wee bit of pressure on Chimpy now, because these balls are all there and he should be taking them out. There's not a problem in the table. The only real problem is dropping down from the 5 onto the 6, whether he goes inside the short side and the right side or over to the left. And Chimpy has found trouble. Well, he's got the hit and he's not left anything easy. That's all you can hope for. But an excellent pot in the 2, but I think he's blocked himself out. Can he catch the edge of that? In fact, he might be able to. I think he rushed into it. If he'd maybe set himself a wee bit better, he might have actually hit it. So now it's gifted Chimpy the chance with ball in hand, and he's got to do it this time. Just roll straight through past the 5 to get on that 4 ball. Or is he coming back for a long 4? Yeah, roll past the 5. And if he goes far enough, I don't think he has done. He could go forward with a wee bit of English, or he could just come back into the table. But he needs to come back far enough so he's not leaving an awkward angle on this 5? Well, he's played it with the spin. He's played the first option, and now this is the one where he has to just get the little dab off this 5 to come down the right side of the 9 ball, and that will do it. I think he's ended up dead straight though. Yeah, I know. He could start spinning this and trying to run it, or he could just take his medicine. So now it's a stun up the table into that corner and come back down the left here. That should be the shot down to this side for the 9, because the angle's there to do it, and that will do nicely. So back into the lead in this race to 9. But anybody's game. Well, the balls are all breaking all over the place there. The 2 balls going in. And that 6 ball has just locked itself to the cue ball. So, just to push out. Oh, I'm getting really tired. Really, really tired. But I've got a short shift tomorrow morning, so I don't care. I'll be driving my truck sometime tomorrow again, part 4, for anybody that's bored. Oh, this needs to slow up, because if it bounces, it's going to stay in line. So it's a free go for Chimpy. Yeah, still over. No, I think it's still 6,000 miles to go, Larry. I'm pretty certain it's about that. It started. Pat, I'll tell you something. It is 6,000, because I'm certain that it was 8,657 miles when I started, and I've already driven 3 sessions, all at least 90 minutes for each session. I think one was about an hour and 45. The day was a wee bit shorter because it was knackered. And I'm still nowhere near it. I'm all the way down to as far south as I can go, down to Tierra del Fuego. It's these bloody mountain roads that do it, because when you're driving in them, you can only go at 30 mile an hour. There's no chance of you overtaking anybody. Plus, I've got damage to the trailer, and the further I go, the more damage I get. And I've already got damage to the goods. Well, John Boo's clipped to 5. It's given ball in hand again for Chimpy. So, the 2 critical shots with plenty of room is getting from the 3 to the 4 and getting on the 4 in such a way that you can avoid the 9. Well, would you believe it? He's missed the 3 with ball in hand, and that is a cardinal sin in any game. You just cannot miss a ball with ball in hand. And where it was sitting, right in the pocket, was absolutely no use to try and get good on that 4, especially running into a bit of the traffic that was in the way. So now he has to hope he gets lucky here. And that isn't it, I'm afraid. I've been on Eurotruck for 10 years, since 2012, and this is the longest trip I've ever done. 8,500 miles from Venezuela right down as far as you can go. I mean, the only place after Ushuaia in the Terra del Fuego's bloody Antarctica. There's nothing any further south. So, good angle on the 8 ball needed. And don't fall below the 9 ball. I think he's got to come back the way. Well, he's letting it run, getting into play, and that'll do. So, John Boo's comeback is going to have to be with not many racks to play with. Got himself back all square. He's now trailing by 2. But in the blink of an eye, it can all turn again. Now, did anything go? I think that's dry. Dry break. No shot in the 2. But what you don't want to do is block yourself completely out in the 2. He's obviously trying to run into something. Now, this could work where he kicks the 2, the 8 hits the 9. Well, it's missed the 9 and knocked the other ball in anyway, so the end result was good. And now we get to the nitty gritty. That 4 ball was over the pocket, I think. It's gone, so now he has to get from the 3 to the 5. And I think this is almost a natural line just to run out far enough. He needs to keep going. And he needs to watch he doesn't hit this hard where he brushes off the 7 and scratches. And in goes the 5. And he's back to within 1 with the break. Hugh, you need to stop driving that truck around. Well, I do stop driving the truck around when I'm taking a break. I stopped today. And I'll stop tomorrow as well, because it's going to take me the best part of a week to get this bloody thing done. But I'll go on to the death. I'll either write off the truck completely in the trailer, or I'll finish it. There'll be no in between. Well, that was a good little jump, and I think he's not come out. Well, the one thing he wants to do is not to disturb that 5 and 9, whatever he does. I mean, I don't think the 5 goes past the 9 that side, does it? And maybe again it does. So it's not quite as locked up as I thought it was. But anyway, Chimpy's going to have first attempt again with ball in hand. And so the critical shot for Chimpy is from the 3 to the 4, because it's not going to be easy to get good on it if he doesn't get good on this 3, because the other problem is that he has to drop off this 4 for the 5. So this is not a guaranteed run out here. And he needs to keep running. He needs to keep going. Well, he's got the angle, so it's all about the pot. The pot and the pace. Back up to the middle pocket is where he wants to be. Doesn't want to be short of it. He wants to be higher if he can. And that will do is now out into the table a wee bit. But there's a danger here with the angle he's going from, that he could come straight back into the pocket. He's avoided that. I think he was well aware of that. So it's now left it a wee bit awkward. And now, again, he's got to play it pocket weight to stay top side of the 7. And is it going to get there? No! Well, the only good news for Chimpy is that, again, it's dead in the pocket. And John Boo's got to get out onto the 7 and has to take the 9 this time. But these 2 balls to square it up again. And Friday night 9 ball this week is just nudging on to 3.5 hours, which is quick compared to what it usually is. So, back again on par. Now that might have been the one ball that went in. And he's got no shot in the two, an easy kick. The old kick and hope, give it a bang and see what happens. Not that though. You want to hit that where you're going to end up doing nothing like that. If you'd hit it full in the face. So, deja vu, Chimpy with the ball in hand. They're all there. And he should be on the hill. And, well, guys, just while I've got time, thanks everybody for watching. Oh dear, I've cursed Chimpy. Well, again, I think he's got away with it. He's left an awkward cut into the side. But, again, it's another unforced error. Well, he's played the combo, boom, and all of a sudden, John Boo's in the hill. There you go. It's amazing. And a ball in the break, I think. Don't know what went. 3 balls gone. And a possible 1-5 combo. He might have I thought he was going to try something crazy. He'll take the end result, though. And now he's starting to get that little bit of the running at the right time. 1 away from victory. Hugh, play the Clint MPEG. Well, that's a replay one. I forgot the button.
Now remember, when things look bad, and it looks like you're not gonna make it, then you gotta get mean. I mean plumb mad dog mean.
That one. Oh, the High Rollers tournament starting. Well, John Boo, I think, had an attempt at the bank. Well, the pressure's on Chimpy now. He's been making the errors at the wrong time. And, well, he's got a really tough 4 ball, let alone the 2 ball. Is he going to nudge the 4? That'll be a bonus. Well, he's given himself every opportunity now. He can only throw it away to take the match hill. So, John Boo's money ball is about to go. Angle on the 6 to get to the 7 required. Or it's just going to be the straight draw. Well, he's got a slight angle. He can go to the rail. He just went for the straight draw. And again, well, he's going to be hampered a bit, but he shouldn't be missing this. As long as he gets himself high enough, you don't want to chicken out in this shot. You just want to get into the table. And he should be breaking for the match in about 15 seconds' time. So here we go. We're going all the way 3 hours and 34.5 minutes into the tournament. We've reached the final rack of the night and my bedtime. So the next match I'll be streaming will be Sunday night. I won't be doing anything in the afternoon because I've got work on Sunday morning. So that'll be the match between Moz and Albinario. If you can't get there to watch it, you can always watch it on YouTube or Twitch for 14 days before they delete it. But it'll be on YouTube. Meanwhile, Chimpy's main problem is where the 4-ball's sitting, because there's a very narrow window to get on it if he's going to go right across to the opposite rail. And he's trying to get there, and I think he's played it well. And a big gap between the 7 and 9 to come up the table. Yeah, he's maybe got to take evasive action that he doesn't run straight into that 7, and he's run straight into the gap. He maybe just checked out a tiny bit there. Well, I don't remember. It just seems to be Spectre, Don and Larry and that's winning them in recent weeks. But John Boo's not going to be winning this one unless Chimpy has an absolute nightmare the next 2 shots. So just a roll through, 9-ball into the side. There shouldn't be any problem. So there's the winning pot from Chimpy that wins him this week's Friday night 9-ball. Well done to him. And well done to Mr. Fox and MC Clarkey, who still survive in the tournament. That is it, folks. I am off to bed. Thanks all for watching. I'll see you again on Sunday if you're there. And take care. And I'll bid you good night.